Good evening. Welcome to the October 22nd meeting of the Yakima School Board. As the usual announcements, we have offer Spanish interpretation services from Nate with Language Connection. If you need translation assistance in person, please check with Nate for a device. Nate, please translate this information.
Para las personas que necesiten traducción al español, tenemos equipo con auriculares disponibles para que lo aprovechen.
Gracias por tu ayuda. We provide live streaming for the meeting. The link can be found on our webpage under Board of Directors or by going directly to www.ysd7.org/board-meetings. If you wish to make a public comment this evening, there are two options available for you. The first option is for commenting on agenda items only, and the second option, which comes toward the end of the meeting, is for all other topics. In order to speak tonight, you will need to sign two forms, a sign-in form and the guidelines form. If you are interested in watching past meetings, you may find them on our webpage's YSD YouTube channel. Barb, would you call the roll, please?
Director Beckett?
Here.
Director Rice?
Here.
President Walker?
Here.
Vice President Villanueva is excused, and Raymond Navarro Jr. is unexcused.
Thank you. Before we continue with the agenda, we need to remove one item from the agenda. And do I hear a motion?
I move that we remove item B1 from the agenda as the presenter is not available this evening.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to remove from the agenda. Any further discussion? Barb, call the roll, please.
Director Beckett?
Aye.
Director Rice?
Aye.
President Walker?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the States, to the republic, one nation, indivisible, with liberty. The character word for this month is empathetic, cultivating the ability to understand and share the feelings and perspective of others. O en español, empático, cultivando la habilidad de comprender y compartir los sentimientos y perspectivas de otros. And now for our land acknowledgement.
Today, the schools of the Yakima School District rest on the ancestral lands of the 14 confederated tribes and bands of the Yakima Nation.
Hoy las escuelas del Distrito Escolar de Yakima descansan en las tierras ancestrales de las 14 tribus y bandas confederadas de la nación Yakima.
The people of the Yakima Nation inhabited more than 12 million acres.
La gente de la nación Yakima habitó más de 10 billones de acres.
Across Adams, Benton, Chelan, Douglas, Franklin, Grant, Kittitas, Klickitat, and Yakima counties.
En los condados de Adams, Benton, Chelan, Douglas, Grant, Franklin, Kittitas, Klickitat, y Yakima.
Today, we honor those native peoples who are tied to the land through history, legends, and culture.
Hoy honramos a estos pueblos originales que están vinculados en la tierra a través de historias, leyendas y culturas.
We acknowledge the descendants who live in the world today.
Reconocemos a sus descendientes que viven en el mundo de hoy.
We thank the caretakers of this land who have lived here and continue to live here since time immemorial.
Agradezcamos a los guardianes de la tierra, quienes han vivido aquí y continúan viviendo aquí desde tiempos inmemoriales.
An acknowledgement is a simple, powerful way to show respect.
Un reconocimiento es una manera simple y poderosa de mostrar respeto.
And a step toward correcting the stories, and practices that erase Indigenous peoples' history and culture.
Y un paso hacia la corrección de las historias y prácticas que borran la historia y la cultura de los pueblos indígenas.
It also honors the truth. También honra la verdad. As a school district, we will continue to build upon our relations with the Yakima Nation.
Como distrito escolar, continuaremos fortaleciendo nuestras relaciones con la nación Yakima.
Thank you to our students. It's always a pleasure to have this section in the agenda, recognitions. And tonight we're going to recognize 3 people. Director Rice will begin with recognition of Wilson Harper from Davis High School.
Thank you, President Walker. The Board of Directors would like to congratulate Wilson E. Harper of AC Davis High School for being named National Merit Scholarship 2025 semifinalists. Over 1.3 million juniors in about 21,000 high schools across this entered the 2025 National Merit Scholarship Program by taking the 2023 preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, which served as an initial screen of program entrance. The nationwide pool of semifinalists, representing less than 1% of U.S. high school seniors, includes the highest scoring entrants in each state. The numbers of semifinalists in a state are proportional to the state's percentage of the national total of graduating seniors. To become a finalist, the semifinalist and a high school official must submit a detailed scholarship application in which they provide information about the semifinalist's academic record, participating in school and community activities, demonstrated leadership abilities, employment, and honors and awards received. A semifinalist must have an outstanding academic record throughout high school, be endorsed and recommended by a high school official, write an essay, and earn SAT or ACT scores that confirm the student's earlier performance on the qualifying test. Congratulations, Wilson E. Harper.
Is Wilson here this evening? Oh, Wilson, if you could come forward. Come around this way, shake everybody's hand. And we have a certificate for you.
Well done. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, I just want to say congratulations to Wilson. We also honored him in an assembly, which was really fun because sometimes we focus on things other than academics in assembly, and it was really cool. And all the kids were standing up and cheering, and fantastic. And I'm just so proud of you and all of your accomplishments and everything you still continue to do for the school and for your community.
Again, congratulations to Wilson. Next up, the Board of Directors would like to congratulate Robin Driver of Eisenhower High School for being named a Field STEM Teacher of the Year by the Pacific Education Institute. The 2024 Field STEM Teacher of the Year is Robin Driver of Eisenhower High School. For the past 3 years, Robin has been the lead teacher or PEI's Youth Engaged in Sustainable Systems program, a 6-week opportunity during the summer for students to earn high school credit and a stipend while gaining ecological restoration skills. Yakima School District is one of the earliest adapters of this program, with Mid-Columbia Fisheries Enhancement Group as their main partner. Congratulations, Robin Driver. Are you here this evening? So your parents may join you if they'd like.
I just wanted to take a moment. It was so refreshing this summer to see the culminating activity, the culminating event for our students. There was a session at the YV Tech, and all of the students were gathered, and they were talking about all of the projects and showing off the work that they've done, and the hands-on activities and way that she really touches students and the effort and time that she puts in. Obviously, it's wonderful that it's recognized, because far too often things like that don't necessarily go recognized. So again, congratulations, and thank you for spending so much time preparing and creating opportunities for our students. Thank you.
Next up, Director Beckett will honor our third, I believe, staff member, yes, for a special recognition. Director Beckett.
We have 2 recognitions for this individual tonight, so please join me as the board would like to congratulate Erica Aparicio, a community health worker at the Health and Wellness Education Center, for being named the 2024 Regional Classified Employee of the Year by ESD 105. Erica will now advance to OSPI's statewide Classified Employee of the Year competition. ESD 105 recognizes the following qualities in its Classified Employee of the Year: exceptional work, community respect and admiration, commitment to professional growth, building connections between schools and communities, collaboration with colleagues, students, and families and leadership. And the board would also like to congratulate Erica for being nominated and awarded the Estrella Award by the Central Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. The Estrella Awards serve as the culmination of the Hispanic Heritage Month campaign for the Central Washington Hispanic Chamber. These awards honor individuals who have made remarkable contributions to the Hispanic culture and community. The goal is to shine a spotlight on our community engagement and provide a platform for our Hispanic and Latino communities in Central Washington. Erica certainly deserves our congratulations for both. Please join me in congratulating Erica Aparicio.
Well, I just want to offer sincere congratulations. Erica's work in and through the Health Services Department has been truly amazing. Her care and commitment to the community, to our community, our students, our families, has been truly amazing. And I don't know that they make enough awards for the work that you've been doing, but I just want to offer my sincere congratulations. And it is quite the highlight to have you in our district serving our students.
Next up, we'd like to welcome Dr. Maria Lucero, Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, to the podium. She will be providing the Global Ends Statement report for goal number 4.
Good evening, President Walker, Superintendent Green, and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening to present to you our ends report for goal 4. I know you've had the opportunity to take a look at all of the slides. As you're aware, I'll highlight 5 for you this evening. So our goal 4, bilingual, biliterate by graduation, states that all students will have the opportunity to become culturally competent, academically successful, and prepared for the global job market in 2 or more languages. Our interpretation is all students means all students, no exceptions, becoming culturally competent, academically successful, and prepared for the global job market in 2 or more languages, is measured through implementation of the elementary dual language program, enrollment and success in world language courses in middle school, and attainment of the seal of biliteracy prior to high school graduation. This goal is assessed using district level data on program access, course enrollments, course grades, and the stamp assessment for the seal of biliteracy. And again, all students will have the opportunity to become culturally competent, academically successful, and prepared for the global job market in 2 or more languages. And as you'll see in your slides and in slides 5 through 10, we have determined that we are making progress with this goal. So starting with dual language implementation, our 2026 commitment is that at least 75% of pre-K-5 schools will have access to a 2-way dual language program. Our 2024 benchmark as of fall 2024, 10 out of 14 pre-K through 5 schools, or 71%, have access to a 2-way dual language program. You can see there cohort 1 implemented school year 21-22. Currently, they are serving either pre-K or kinder, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade is new this year. In cohort 2, you see 3 schools, Hoover, McClure, McKinley, currently serving kinder, 1st, and 2nd grade, 2nd grade being the new grade level to dual language. And cohort 3, implementing as of 23-24 at Ridgeview and Whitney, currently serving kinder, and 1st is new to dual language this year. There was a pause this year, 24-25, but we are set to begin planning for cohort 4, the schools being Gilbert and Robertson. So again, this year, planning year, with implementation planned for the next fall. And then cohort 5, our final cohort being Nob Hill and Roosevelt, with a planning year of 25-26 and implementation 26-27. Goal 4, opportunities. So overall, our enrollment in world languages in 8th grade is low, although you'll see in the following slide that we had a slight increase of 1.9%, but overall continues to be low. Disparities in percentages of 8th grade students enrolled in world languages exist in all program categories with the exception of migrant students, 18% of migrant students enrolled versus 17% non-migrant students enrolled. Notably, a disparity in our students who are English learners participated at 8% compared to non-English language learners at 21%. On-time graduation for Black, African American, Hispanic, Latino of any races, or two or more races, and white students decreased. And a disparity of 23%, a disparity decrease of 6% in earning the seal of biliteracy for students with different abilities. Highlights. We are on pace to reach dual language program goal 1 year early, which would be fall of 2025. Students enrolled in world languages slightly increased from 22-23 school year, that 1.9%. Of 8th graders enrolled in world language courses, the percentage of Hispanic, Latino of any race, Asian, Native Hawaiian, other Pacific Islander students earning credit increased. Of 8th graders enrolled in world language courses, the percentage of students earning credit increased in 10 out of the 14 program categories. English language learner, homeless, students in the homeless category, migrant, and students with different abilities remained at 50% and did not show an increase. 100% on-time graduation was maintained for Asian students for the 3rd year in a row. 80% on-time graduation for non-low-income students maintained. 91 8th grade students earned full credit for seal of biliteracy, of which 14 are English language learners, 2 are in the homeless category, 83 low income, and 19 migrant students. We also saw an increase in percent of graduates earning a seal of biliteracy for English language learners, non-foster care students, students in the homeless category, students in the non-homeless category, low income, non-migrant, non-Section 504, students with different abilities, and students without different ability. And we saw an increase in percent of graduates earning the seal of biliteracy for Asian and Hispanic, Latino of any races. Questions?
Any questions from the board?
Maria, thank you for this information. It's encouraging to see that we're increasing the numbers of students who graduate with the seal of biliteracy,
Yes.
as well as the increasing number of students in our dual language program. So maybe we could promote some of that in an upcoming media something.
Mm-hmm.
And let the community know how well we're doing with that.
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Becker, any questions?
I guess just from an anecdotal response. When I first joined the board about 3 years ago, this was really right at that first implementation level. We're in about year 3 for cohort 1. And I've heard from various education experts here in our district and at WASDA that, whenever you try something, you have to give it about 3 years to see how it's going. And to put you on the spot in front of God and all of us right here,
Okay.
how do you feel about where we're at 3 years in? I know we had our hiccups and everything, and we've paused this, but looking at cohort 1 especially, what should we really take away from this the most?
I think that what we can really take away is that research shows that our multilingual students who participate in dual language programs outperform those students who are multilingual students in non-DL programs, and we are seeing that right before our eyes. We continue to see that, so we are able to look at data where our multilingual students are in dual language, and we do have a few who are in non-dual language classrooms, and you can see the difference there. And so, of course, the question is, why is that? But really, what we're seeing is the research, the positive effects of implementation here in Yakima. And I have to say that it's really, the teachers, it's really a team effort. And so I really just a shout out to our dual language teachers, all of our educators, but our dual language teachers, since I'm presenting on this today, for all of their hard work, and our principals who are dual language principals.
Thank you. Again, well, thanks for the report. It's amazing to see the growth in the dual language and the number of students that are attaining the seal of biliteracy. I have a couple of related questions that aren't in this report. Are there any students that are gaining seal of biliteracy in languages other than Spanish? Are any of the students that are in the world languages like French or German or Japanese? I believe we offer Mandarin at one of the high schools too. Are any of those students achieving a seal of biliteracy in those languages, or maybe they come with some facility?
They do have the ability to take that assessment, and I can get some of those details for
Okay.
you. Yes.
I'd also be interested in the number of students that are getting a seal of biliteracy in ASL, American Sign Language.
We can provide that information. Yes.
Thanks. Any other questions? And thanks so much.
Thank you.
Next up, Jake's already ready. Okay, we have our annual enrollment report from Jake Cooper, Assistant Superintendent of Finance.
So this will be the year. Good evening, President Walker, Director, members of the board, Superintendent Green. So this will be a year that we're going to have a lot of enrollment data. So we went through our enrollment data and confronted it during some of our budget reduction conversations. We also currently have a FACT committee going, so we have eyes on enrollment that will relate to facilities and potential capital improvements in the future. And so this will be a year where we'll be grounded in the enrollment data. And as we move forward, it's something we'll continue to drive our finances and, of course, our staffing levels. So before you'll see there we go. There's a 5-year look of actual enrollment, except the 24-25, which is budgeted because October accounts were not finalized prior to this. They just were a couple days ago. Again, full-time equivalency. Here, this excludes our ALE and out-of-district skills center. So sometimes you will see what I've learned in Yakima, our enrollment can be counted a multitude of ways. So sometimes you'll see it with ALE inside it. Sometimes you'll see it with ALE and Running Start. Sometimes you'll see it with Skills Center pulled out that are our kids, and sometimes there's Skills Center in total. So I will try to make sure when I'm going through the enrollment slides and the information that I tell you exactly which iteration I'm looking at. So that is our FTE, full-time equivalent, excluding ALE and out-of-district Skills Center.
Jake, for our viewing public, could
Yes.
you tell me what ALE is?
ALE is Alternative Learning Experience. And that is mostly the simplest way would be either online would be considered an ALE opportunity, and sometimes there's some contract ALE, which is for subject specific. For the most part, you can think online, you think of alternative learning. It has a lot of other forms, but that's mostly what drives our enrollment here. This is a new set of data, and there's a lot in here, but it is time to kind of look at our data, particularly enrollment by building. So what you see here, and its importance, is if you look at the 15-16, so this is your current, those are your elementary sites, 15 and 16. So I say sites because K Virtual and Discovery Lab are in that data because they were running and had somewhat different program configurations. But, so the takeaway though, however, is if you look at 15-16, our average size elementary was 578 FTE. So that's 15-16. Numbers in the blue. We had full-time equivalent enrollment of 7,642 students. I'm going to move you forward to the 24-25 year. You can see that this was preliminary P23 data from October for the elementaries. You can see that we have just under 6,400 students, right? 6,392 with an average elementary size of 488. So if we go across, the bottom numbers in red are both the percentage decline and then the nominal or real number decline on the prior year. You can see it just takes the prior year and doing the math for you. So you can see the decline over a multi-year period. So we talk about enrollment and effects. This is a very important slide for you to kind of digest when you look at your elementary schools currently and their historical enrollment as it moves along as we continue to decline. The next slide is a summary of that, and it aggregates the totals that were not on the slide prior. So look at Adams as an example. If you look from 15-16 to the current year, you can see the number of students that each elementary school has declined over that 10-year period. So it's a decade look at our current elementary enrollment. So you can see, for example, Nob Hill has declined 162 students since 2015-16. I think as a percentage, I did not do that as a percentage. I should have, apologies, but you can see the raw number. And then what is most salient, of course, is when you look at the total elementary FTE from 15-16 to 24-25, which is a decade period. You see a gross or a total decline of 1,250 students. And then the average elementary across that time period declined almost 90 FTE for a percent decline of 16.4% for elementary enrollment. So when we look at enrollment and trends and effects, I thought this was a very salient piece of data, particularly given our financial situation and our continued decline in enrollment. Here's the patterns and trends at a higher level, and middle school and high school. You can see, the funny thing is middle school really is kind of in the middle of the bubble. We had seen high school start to decline in part because of alternative learning, right? You can see there's a shift there. It's not all doom and gloom. The ALE is up, but there was a shift in enrollment. And so on high school enrollment also can be affected by running start numbers. When those are excluded, we did see a doubling of running start in fiscal year 23-24. So middle school numerically not down. It's very flat, which is, you're like, oh, that's strange. But we have decline on both ends of the curve. So if you think about the middle in the middle, as it is, 6th, 7th, and 8th, we have decline in enrollment on both ends of the tail. So high school, same decade-long period, you're down 7.23% enrollment, about 347 or just under 350 students. That ALE number, though, is as we, you all, and prior to my arrival, and have continued to grow those programs and shape those during COVID. So that's a great increase, 130% or 251 students. So. And then Stanton has had some volatile enrollment. That was over a decade-long period, so from 15-16 to current on the change. This is a very familiar graph from you, so it graphically represents what you see weekly or monthly in your board packets. It is the same look, but still valuable nonetheless for this presentation, as it takes you through a 5-year actual enrollment trend of all the various types of enrollment we just discussed, basic ed, ALE, etc. So, questions. So, to close, you can see that we have been declining enrollment consistently for close to a decade. We have addressed that budgetarily this last go around, but as we talk about the effects of enrollment, we'll need to continue to address the decline, and so that's why it was provided for you in that fashion and format. And I thought it was be something of value. So if there are any questions on the enrollment picture, we can go into detail. And this was kind of the tip of the proverbial spear, because we will be diving into enrollment deeply as we move into the budget process in the late winter, just past the new year, and then late new year and then early winter as we dive into the budget season, and then again as we begin to discuss facility needs going forward. So not the first or last time you'll have enrollment data, but again, meaningful data about the effects of enrollment. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Jake. Any questions from the board or comments? I do have one question. We did change some of our enrollment opportunities for out-of-district students to be able to come into the district. Has that had any impact at all in terms of?
Yep. Yes, we did get a handful of students. I will get the final number because we are closing the fiscal books this week, and then in turn, we'll be able to provide you year-end financial data that will, at that point in time, we were going to discuss new year enrollment and budget versus actual. So we did receive students above what we paid for any advertisements or promotions. So our bet was good in that regard. So, but we'll continue to monitor that and get back to you.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have updates from members of the board. Do we have any updates? Moving on, we have Dr. Green, Superintendent's update.
Thank you, President Walker. I'd like to start this evening by introducing somebody here who is a surprise visitor. It's Heather Curl, who is a member of WASDA. She was a recent hire. She has several years' experience working in the domain of adult education, and her responsibilities at WASDA are to identify the professional learning needs of school directors and design ways to meet those needs, evaluate the efficacy of WASDA's tools and techniques, and to continuously improve upon them. And she reached out to me today because she wanted to say a few words to you as a school board.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to join your school board tonight, your school board meeting tonight. Can you hear me okay? And I couldn't see or hear anyone, but that's okay. I got a thumbs up, so I'll keep going. I thank you so much for the welcome. I am so excited. I'm here to announce that one of my roles is to determine the points of distinction. Just under 40 applicants applied this year, and not only is Yakima School District Board of Distinction this year, but I have the great honor to share that you've been chosen as the Large District Board of the Year. So congratulations, Yakima School District. That means I can't hear anything. I'll keep going with it. That you'll be honored at the annual conference, and that'll be particularly on Friday during the general session. We'll have we'll recognize all of the boards of the year. There are 3. Again, you'll be from the large district, and the medium and small, and that you'll be contacted by our videographer who will come and make a short video about your work as a board. We'll share that during that session during the annual conference. So a huge congratulations to everyone.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you announcing that this evening.
Thank you. That is a surprise.
Great rest of the night. It's a surprise. Congratulations. Thanks, everyone.
Well, that just sums up last couple of years, doesn't it? With the yeah. So congratulations. We gathered this evening and we acknowledged a student in Wilson Harper. Obviously, our field STEM Teacher of the Year in Robin Driver, and then 2 awards for Erica Aparicio. And I did make the statement that those best awards are those that are totally unexpected and that come through doing the right work and letting the chips fall where they may. This has been, you've been here for varying degrees of time, from 3 years to longer. And it's not easy. It's not easy to be a board member. I shake my head at the dedication and commitment that you put forth on behalf of our students and community in this unpaid position to spend time setting policy, approving policy, and making sure that we have great indicators in moving our district forward. It reminds me of Coach Kirby Smart from Georgia football team made a statement that just sticks with me, especially during those difficult times. And he said that great leaders must accept the costs of leadership, such as making difficult decisions that negatively impact people you care about, being disliked, and being misunderstood. So congratulations, because you've had probably all 3 of those at some point just in the tenure of being a school board member. But you did cling and have continued to follow your core values and the reason for running for the position, and to see it result in recognition at the state level as the board, beyond Board of Distinction, but the Large School Board of the Year is fantastic. And not to put anybody on the spot, but I'm looking at Martha, and you probably, it's not probably, you have the longest tenure. What are your thoughts? What's going through your head right now?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised. So there is that. The Board of the Year is a program that was created, I want to say 10 years ago, maybe more than that. And there have been a lot of boards that have won that distinction. Not too many from the east side of the state, mostly west side school districts, especially for the large school districts, because there aren't many of us on this side of the state. But it's a team effort. It's not any one person or any two people on a board. It's the board itself, the work of the board as a whole, that they take into consideration for this recognition. And I'm really pleased.
I appreciate that little historical context and knowing that you know more about what happens at WASDA than probably the rest of us combined at these tables. So I appreciate that. Anything you'd like to add, either Director Beckett or President Walker? You don't have to. I'm just opening it up.
Well, I agree with Mark. I'm surprised. I didn't know we were in the running for that honor, and it really is kind of reinforcing to know that we put in a lot of hours and we work really hard at trying to make the best decisions for our district, and it's nice to receive that recognition from the rest of the state. I'm truly honored.
Well, thank you. I will now go ahead and proceed with the actual items that I had listed for this evening and share them with you. First, just wanted to let you know that there are 4 items I want to talk about. One is the Early Education Fellowship at the University of Washington. This last week, I was able to accompany our elementary lead principals to the University of Washington for a fellowship around early learning. It was focused around inclusionary practices, of which the Yakima School District has tremendous room for growth in the inclusion of our students in the greatest context that they can be in. We know that we tend to have many students that are in a very restrictive environment, and we're seeking to change that. So going through the fellowship with the University of Washington is something that will pay great dividends. Aside from the focus on inclusion, there's a focus on community and family engagement, as well as mental health and wellness. So we look forward to this, the continued program. We were able to go over to Seattle in case anybody's concerned, which I would imagine during these financial challenges somebody would be and should be. This was the result of several years of work that I was able to involve myself with, and the generosity of one of the individuals in the Balmer group who was able to attain this for us at no cost. So we're the only district in the state engaged with the Balmer group around this fellowship, which will continue for throughout this school year. So we're excited about that, and it was very productive. We were able to go to the last day, spend some time in the Highline School District, and go to a couple of the elementaries there, focused on elementary this time around, and see the inclusionary practices that they have across their system. And it is inspiring to see all different ability levels of students in every single classroom. They take the approach Highline, and this is certainly something we're just looking at and scratching the surface. We recognize that we have our own context and have to move at a pace, basically move at the pace of trust is what we can do. And we have a lot of work ahead of us, including, of course, our teachers in this process. We're very excited that the YEA president, Franny Guerrero, was able to attend on that Friday and to see the practices in the classroom. Have yet to debrief with her, but I'm very positive about what she was able to see because it was quite inspiring. Aside from that, we had also then on Monday, there was a University of Washington financial summit, as you are aware, but the public may not. I'm part of a convening of superintendents that is envisioning ample and equitable school funding for every Washington child. This was started in conjunction, myself and also Kelly Aramaki, the Bellevue superintendent. We were able to gather around between 15 and 20 superintendents from across the state, mainly through the I-5 corridor, but we did have all the way from Vancouver up to Ferndale represented. We only had 2 from the east side. I was there, as well as the superintendent from Central Valley. The wonderful thing about this summit is that we were able to secure time with the chair of the House Education Committee, Representative Tomiko Santos, and she was part of a Q&A around what is happening in the state and what we're seeing with funding, declining enrollment, how we can envision a new way of operating away from the resource-based allocation model and potentially move to a student-based allocation model, which is much more equitable, and more states are moving in that direction, rightfully so, to make sure that we have the best sustainable system for our students. And we're not there yet. We have a tough road to hoe. It's gonna take a while, and we're looking at a potential 5-year plan to hopefully change funding in Washington State. So that's very exciting to be part of that group and to continue to see the involvement of the University of Washington in hosting and having David Knight, who is a foremost researcher on Washington State pre-K-12 funding, and one to whom many superintendents, board members, and legislators look for sound counsel and data around how to properly fund and project into the future based on our current design and then what we should possibly be using. In addition, we have a summit, not a summit, but an event this evening, not this evening, but Thursday. I believe you have this flyer at your disposal. So we are hosting a session at the Davis Auditorium, October 24th. That is this Thursday. It is a 2-hour session from 6 to 8. It is titled Navigating Public Educational Funding, Challenges and Opportunities for Washington State. The target audience is really our community, but we are focusing on superintendents and school board members. We have around 6 different districts that are participating. We've reached out to our labor partners to invite them as well. We've reached out to our community to have them in attendance if they so choose. The topic is a little bit maybe dry if you're looking for something to do on a Thursday night, but to those of us that are wrapped up in educational funding, it is quite exciting, and we're looking forward to providing this opportunity to all individuals who may be interested in knowing the facts around what we're looking at as a state. And it's really designed for somebody who doesn't know much about educational funding, all the way to the person who may have done his master's on Yakima School District funding. So it really includes everybody across the gamut. The people involved are TJ Kelly. He's the Chief Financial Officer from OSPI. He's going to kick off the first keynote. He'll talk about how where we were before McCleary all the way up to the present. Dan Steele from WASA, he's the Executive Assistant Director of Governmental Relations, has agreed to be our facilitator. So he's going to start, interject in the middle, kind of wrap it up at the end, introduce our speakers, and use his own expertise in the Q&A session. Our culminating keynote is actually Dr. David Knight, and I referenced him earlier. So he'll be there present to talk about all types of things, from the impact of investing in education, the difference that investments in education make, to the impact of how we can better use LEA more equitably across our state. So this is really that moment where, you know, if somebody's saying we haven't had the opportunities to really understand what's happening in the state, then this is the event to attend. So we will continue to advertise and see if we can get many more people there before this Thursday. But I'm just happy that we're able to have such high caliber individuals, and TJ Kelly, Dr. David Knight, and Dan Steele, representative of OSPI, the University of Washington, and then WASA in attendance. And it's a great activity, and I hope that all of you can attend. You're certainly invited. We would love to have you stand or just be identified there and recognized at the beginning of that session. So again, this Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. at the A.C. Davis High School Auditorium.
Will there be translation services available?
Yes, we have that. We do. So thank you for asking that question too, and appreciate that. The last item is really not something that is to notify you of, beyond my question about if you're thinking about attending the WASDA Ledge Conference. That is January 11th and 12th. I think in the past we have not had. Maybe you've attended quite a bit in the past. Up until the last couple of years, yep, there's been some challenges. I recognize that. So I will work under the assumption that if you want to attend, you'll let me know. But I wanted to let everybody know that we have that conference January 11th and 12th. It's important to know, because if one of you are going to attend, I will attend with you. I still do lobby in Olympia, but I typically don't usually go on that Ledge Day. I usually go before that date or after that date where there's more kind of individual opportunity to get in front of those legislators. But I would be happy to attend with as many of you who would like to attend.
And this is the earliest that we've had this in
It is quite early.
quite a number of years. I think it's the first week of the legislature.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So, you know, people will be running around like with their heads cut off, trying to find out where their offices are and so forth. But it's a great opportunity to get your foot in the door with our new legislators, because we could have anywhere up to 4 new legislators for the Yakima School District.
One other item I guess I did forget in talking about the Davis Auditorium, just to put on your radar, December 4th at 6 p.m., we are planning to host the Davis Auditorium remodel celebration. So this is December 4th at 6 p.m. We'll get that on your calendars. That would be the Davis Auditorium remodel celebration. So that's underway right now, and we're pleased to be able to work with some of our individuals in the community to bring this, to make this a great celebration. And want to make sure, again, that you have that well in advance. We are still working through the punch list, the last items on the punch list, but it is open to a degree, but under very watchful eye right now, but we're very close to turning that over completely. In fact, we're going through the last kind of other items as far as how to come up with the right cost scale to rent out the facility if we're going to do that, and what that could look like, and just making sure that the keys and the understanding are in the right hands of those who have access to that facility, given that it is now one of our probably 2 most high profile facilities that we have in the district. So, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a calendar update or highlights for the evening?
I'd be happy to take that.
Berenice, I believe.
Is
she here?
I think I just stole her thunder, though. That's what I was going to say. Berenice, would you like me to? What would you like? No. Okay, I apologize. I stepped right in there. So the main thing was the November 24th, the Thursday activity that I mentioned around the funding, the navigating public educational funding. That's the main thing. We do have upcoming board meetings, as you can see. It's included on the public content, November 4th, 19th, December 2nd, and December 17th. And then, of course, we have all of our varsity home sporting events that are listed as far as volleyball, football, and soccer. That's there. And we have on the 25th, which is this Friday, if you're going to go to a football game and get the kind of biggest representation for the opportunity, that is the Davis football at Ike at Zeffel Stadium at 4 p.m.
Okay, does the board have anything to add to future calendar? Okay, thank you. Now we have arrived at the first opportunity for comments from the public on agenda items. Do we have any commenters?
We do not.
Okay, moving on. Next up is the consent agenda, and this evening that contains approval of the minutes of the September meetings, notification of approval of warrants for September 2024, approval of personnel actions, and resolution 03.24.25, approval of cancellation of outstanding warrants, which is a typical thing we do annually. Is there any of those items that need to be pulled for discussion? Okay, that said, or unsaid, do I hear a motion?
I move adoption of the consent agenda as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda or adopt the consent agenda. Barb, would you call the roll, please?
Director Beckett?
Aye.
Director Rice?
Aye.
President Walker?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Next up, we have approval to contract with Pearson for the 24-25 school year. Dr. Green.
Thank you. We have a request for approval of the contract with Pearson for the 24-25 school year. As you just mentioned, the background information is that we provide all students in the K virtual, Yakima Online, and district-wide credit retrieval programs with grade appropriate support and supplemental curriculum to meet the state standards as well as student needs. So any student with significant learning challenge or has an individual education plan also to receive the support that he or she needs in that process. The fiscal impact is a total cost of $719,000, actually almost $720,000. It's 719,990, so $719,990. It includes teaching per semester and workbooks, and it serves our populations as mentioned before, and it's for this current school year. Do you have any questions that I could possibly answer?
Any questions for Dr. Green? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I move that the board approves the contract with Pearson in the amount of $719,990 for the 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve our contract with Pearson. Any other question or discussion? Barb, call the roll, please.
Director Beckett,
Aye.
Director Rice,
Aye.
President Walker.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. And now we've arrived at our second opportunity for comments from the public on any item that's not on the agenda. Okay, first up we have Mr. Steve McKenna.
I'm Steve McKenna. I'm retired from the Yakima School District. I am a property owner in Yakima School District, and I know we've had a continuing discussion about administrative staffing in the district, and I retired in 2020. The district directory, which is the phone list, was 6 pages. 2 of those pages containing the central office personnel names and numbers. The 24-25 district directory is now 8 pages with 3 full pages for the central office personnel and numbers. The board can easily get access to this information to see it for yourselves. I created lists of certificated administrative personnel from each directory so that personnel with more than one department would not be counted twice. In 2019-20, there were 38 certificated central office administrators with roughly 1,500 more students in the Yakima School District. 2024-25, there are 43 certificated administrators with 1,500 fewer students. With salaries and benefits, that's a very conservative, an extra $1 million expense for their YSD salaries and benefits each year. That, of course, does not include their budgets, office space, and secretarial personnel. I also noticed that in the in-house directory comparison, that there's a huge number of non-certificated supervisory personnel that have been added to the YSD since 2020. If the YSD operated using the state allocation for administrative personnel, that would save the district over $2.5 million a year, which I spoke to in previous board meetings. When the district is in a financial calamity, as the board officially declared, borrowing against the latest school levy to make payroll, the district cannot afford business as usual. An official declaration of a financial calamity never occurred in my entire 34.5-year career, even during levy failures. It's fairly obvious the district cannot afford the present model of operation. Austerity needs to take place at the central office where the financial calamity originated. It's unfortunate that personnel like the classified employees that are being laid off at the end of this month due to the financial calamity have to suffer decisions made by the superintendent and his management team. When the district has more administrators to teachers than classroom teachers to students, you have a problem. Spring of 2025 may bring even larger layoffs than last year. And I'm still waiting for my invitation to discuss this. Thank you.
Next up, we have Thomas McCormick.
My name is Thomas McCormick, and they're going to be very short and precise. The only thing I'm going to be saying, here on the podium is one thing, but I'm want to reserve the right to talk to the board president with that person after the meeting. So don't go away. First of all, I have a good reviews. I've been with people of a good review that they really appreciate Trevor Green, and I would like to have a meeting with the board and Mr. Green. According to what I learned, he's a very decent and a good man, that Trevor Green. I'm sure that we have him, and I'm going to wait until after the meeting to have a meeting with the board and with Mr. Green together. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the board, but I'm sorry, but you do not get to control my time after the meeting, and so I will not be waiting after the meeting for you. Sorry. I'm sorry, you do not control my time. Thank you. Next up, we have several policy governance items. First up, we have Mr. Cooper talking about asset protection.
Good evening. Before you this evening for your consideration, I believe it will be voted on later in survey. I recommend a do pass is your asset protection policy. The asset protection policy highlights just that, how we safeguard our assets. So annually, we have a state audit for several hundreds of hours that looks at both our financials and, of course, how we track and safeguard public assets. Additionally, we talk about insurance a lot here. Our insurance this year was up $700,000 to $3.3 million for liability insurance. And then, of course, additionally in the safeguard is we talk about bonded staff. So all staff that have access to a significant amount of funds or funds are properly bonded. And additionally, the district does do a great, or I should say an excellent job on preventative maintenance and safeguarding its assets, even in the absence of a capital levy. So there's no bond money here in Yakima currently. There's no capital levy. And so we have a shoestring preventative maintenance budget that we should be proud of what we accomplish with the funds that we currently have. And so Anthony Marietta, that was for you in particular. You do a great job with the minimal amount of resources you have to make this district work. And then, of course, there's another HR bend on the asset protection. That would be the background checks. And that is accomplished well, assisted in Marietta's office. So again, you have this proposal in advance. I just wanted to highlight a few of the items that provide the evidence needed for you to be comfortable taking an action later on. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Cooper? Okay, thank you. Next up, we have approval of policy 1000.2.7, emergency superintendent succession. The survey was conducted. In all areas of this survey, the voters gave 100% compliance in all sections, and there were no special comments. We will work on these as a block at the end, okay? And 1000.2.8, compensation and benefits. There was one of the people that voted, only 3 members of the board responded. 2 said the superintendent was compliant. 1 said that the superintendent is making sufficient progress. There was 1 comment, and the comment was, it is a challenge to maintain the public image of the district at a time of budget decline. And while the road has been rocky, I believe the superintendent is making sufficient progress. And that was our only comment. And next up, we have policy number 1000.2.9. And in the survey, all board members that responded indicated 100% compliance with all elements of that policy. And so there were no other comments. So I now open to the board to, I'll entertain a motion to approve those policy reports.
I move that the board approve policy monitoring reports for policies 1000.2.7, 1000.2.8, and 1000.2.9 as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve those three aforenamed policies. Do I hear any other question or discussion? Okay, Barb, call the roll, please.
Director Beckett?
Aye.
Director Rice?
Aye.
President Walker?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Is there a need for executive session this evening? No need for
There's no
executive session. Okay. That said, if there are any other comments or anything else for the good of the order from the board? Okay, thank you. Meeting is adjourned.